Kensington Palace slams false claims made about Duchess Kate, while Prince William opens up about how becoming a dad brought back the painful emotions he felt after Princess Diana's death.
Things come out of the blue that you don't ever expect, or that maybe you think you've dealt with. And so I can completely relate with what you're saying about children coming along. It's one of the most amazing moments of life, but it's also one of the scariest.
Conspiracy theories, a new A-list circle of friends, and missing her mom. The explosive new article about Harry and Meghan's great royal escape. Plus, former Ladies of London star Marissa Hermer details what she imagines life to be like for Harry and Meghan in Los Angeles.
I've never had paparazzi camp outside of my door. Keep me for better or for worse. But yeah, if someone's always watching you, it's a bit Big Brother, isn't it? You sort of can't escape or be anonymous.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hello to our fellow royal lovers and welcome to Royally Us. I'm Christina, that's Carly, senior reporter from HuffPost and royal commentator. Hi, Carly.
Hi, Christina. The drama just never ends.
It really doesn't. I mean, we say it all the time, but it really doesn't end.
I know. I don't know how each week gets topped by the following week. That's how it happens.
Somehow it happens, especially in quarantine. We didn't think that we would have this much drama, but we do.
I know. Thank you, Royals, for, keeping us entertained and informed.
Totally. Yes, but we have two really big articles that were written about, Harry and Meghan, one about Kate. So we're going to break that all down in a little bit. But before we get to that, we have to, of course, acknowledge our royal viewers, our royal watchers, because last week's episode got a lot of you talking as usual. So we wanted to read through a couple of them. The first one is from Lisa. She says, "You do realize the vast majority of the world's population despise Harry and Meghan, right? They are no longer royal despite whatever they write on their highly stylized webpage. William was the one who mentioned Harry on their mother's charity. Harry said absolutely nothing. William is all class. Harry, not so much." So this was, of course, in reference to last week's story about how William acknowledged Harry in a letter about Princess Diana's charity.
Yes, and I would say first things first, people just need to be kind. Yes. We don't know Harry and Meghan, we don't know the royals. We're real people reading real comments, so everyone be kind. And then second of all, this is false. Harry and Meghan are still royals. Harry had to drop his military titles, and they don't use their Royal Highness titles, but they are still royal. Harry will never not be royal. And I think the William letter was a sweet gesture to include his brother. And Harry didn't specifically say anything about the letter. It was just from William, so that is true. But maybe this is a sign of things to come between the brothers.
I hope so. I hope that it's a step in the right direction.
Definitely.
Okay, the next one is from Marie. She says, "Hope they get true happiness. They just need to reimburse the $44 million they were happy to receive from the British taxpayers over the past 2 years. It could help out veterans, homeless, and the 36,000 families who are bereaved due to the vivid virus."
Yeah, so this is really interesting to me because Buckingham Palace is undergoing a 10-year renovation, and that will cost taxpayers about $450 million. So while I understand that, if you like someone or don't like someone, there are numbers that you can pull out to reference. There was a lot of money spent on Harry and Meghan's wedding and security for that. That also brought in a lot of money and a lot of tourism. So there are just, any way you look at it, there's a lot that could be done in terms of saving in the royal family. But I would say start with Buckingham Palace and those hundreds and hundreds of millions first.
Yeah, seriously, that's like chump change compared to what that is. Okay, the last one from Hen says, "I am sorry, but the Cambridges come across as hypocrites, and they should practice what they preach. Whatever they do comes across as a betrayal to the Sussexes."
Yeah, and this was in reference to Kate and William did a 1-minute mental health video, and in it, Kate said, you should ask if people are okay. And that seemed like a reference to when Meghan in her October documentary said, "I'm not okay."
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now, especially in the royal fandom, it's always been really, really loyal. And right now you're on the Sussex's side or the Cambridge's side, and there's really no in between.
Yeah, you can't pick a side.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to our royal news of the week, because like we said, we have a lot to get to. And this actually just came out. So Tatler magazine released a story all about Duchess Kate and was mostly positive for the most part, but the Kensington Palace released a rare statement saying that some of this article was categorically false, and it had to do with her workload, right?
Yes, it is, like you said, extremely rare for Kensington Palace to ever issue a rebuttal of something. And in this Tatler story, which Tatler said that they collaborated with Kensington Palace on it, but there were a few parts where it said that Kate and William are furious with Harry and Meghan over their increased workload because of Harry and Meghan stepping back. And they also said that now there'll be less hands-on parents because their workload had to step up. And Tatler said, we spoke to so many sources, and like we said, we collaborated with them, but the palace is denying it. They're not denying specific facts, which we've talked about before, that I wish, royals would say, these three things are really,
Right.
these three things are true. I followed up with them this morning to see if they'll identify what they say is false. But yeah, this is a rare situation. We don't get to see this often.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's extremely rare. And, it feels like there's this constant battle with the media and the royals it feels like, it's always been a battle, but it feels like it's really heightened over the past, year or so. And they're not afraid to say, okay, this isn't going to happen anymore. This is true. This is false. And it's pretty soon. I don't think that they're ever going to give anybody any access to anything.
Right. And I think they're learning from Harry and Meghan, where they didn't step up at the right times to deny that, Meghan made Kate cry or whatever the real story is there. So it looks like they're learning from their past mistakes and realizing we do have to shut things down, or else these rumors and reports continue, and then that's damaging to our own real family.
Right. And this maybe could be another step in the right direction to mending this rift between them as well, because she probably wouldn't have said something if, they weren't on better terms, maybe.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point, because their policy for all of the royals is really silence, like don't fuel the rumors. But I think it's nice to see them adapt to the changing world and realize that if you don't say anything, it's just going to spread like wildfire.
Yeah. And this story sure is.
Yeah, yes.
Certainly is. Okay, let's talk about Prince William, because he actually opened up about how having children reminded him of his late mother, Princess Diana. Take a look.
When you've been through something traumatic in life, and that is, like you say, your dad not being around, my mother dying when I was younger, your emotions come back in leaps and bounds, because it's a very different phase of life, and there's no one there to kind of help you. And I definitely found it very, at times overwhelming. Me and Catherine particularly, we support each other, and we go through those moments together, and we kind of evolve and learn together. But I do agree with you. I think emotionally, things come out of the blue that you don't ever expect, or that maybe you think you've dealt with. And so I can completely relate with what you're saying about children coming along. It's one of the most amazing moments of life, but it's also one of the scariest.
So this was a really moving, short clip of an interview that is going to be part of a larger conversation, right?
Yes, there's a documentary coming out actually tomorrow, and it is called Football, Prince William, and Mental Health, which is a lot going on in a title. Right. It's a new BBC documentary that people will have a chance to see soon. And yeah, it's always really fascinating to see William or Harry open up about their mother, losing their mother. And Prince William spoke with a soccer player who grew up without a father. And Prince William was saying, when you become a parent and you're missing a parent, all of these, really tough emotions come flooding back.
Oh, yeah. The soccer player was saying, like, I had all these questions because I didn't really know how to be a dad because I didn't grow up with a dad. And, he kind of, was able to relate to that because obviously he didn't really grow up a lot of his adult life with his mom. So, it was a really moving conversation between the two of them.
It really was. And William said that, there were so many questions that he didn't know and he wanted the answer to. And he said that really Catherine, his wife, helps support him in these moments, and they try and learn and grow together. But I can only imagine how tough it is to experience these things. But William talking about this reminded me of a past interview when he said that his mom, Diana, just would have been a horrible grandmother because she would have been so naughty, and I just love thinking of that.
I do too. I forgot about that one. That was definitely a good interview. I definitely love that one. Speaking of great moments, Duchess Kate and Prince William played bingo with some very lucky nursing home residents. Take a look.
Catherine's going to pick out the first ball.
Okay. So the first number is 5 and 8, 58.
One little duck, number 2.
8 and 7, 87. 6 and 2, tickety boo.
Yay!
This was adorable. I love this.
This was so cute. It was such a wonderful, sweet moment on so many levels.
Yeah, it really was. So what was this for?
This was William and Kate were checking in on a nursing home, and they were talking to some residents and also voicing their support for the people who are working to, support people in nursing homes right now amid the coronavirus pandemic.
It's so cute. And there were definitely some funny moments throughout all of this. I mean, how could there not be, right?
Right. It was really funny to hear the royals trying to call bingo games and, saying all the funny terms and everything. And at one point they said, "How are we doing?" And a resident answered really honestly and said, "This should have gone better." And the royals just burst into laughter because I don't think people are ever really that honest with
right.
them.
Yeah.
Such a good moment. And I watched it over and over.
I love that. And of course the kids came up, right?
Yes, Kate was calling one of the numbers and said 5 and 5, snakes alive, and she said George would really like that. So we already heard a few weeks ago that George likes spiders. Now we think he likes snakes, so he is just in that phase of liking everything.
I'm
that
sure. He hopefully doesn't bring them home because that would not be good. And a volunteer also spoke out about what it was like meeting Kate and William via Zoom, right?
Yes, so this employee, or this actual writer named Alexis, was on a Zoom call with Kate and William about Shout, which is a 24-hour text line that they helped form with Harry and Meghan last year. And he said that they are just so well informed, even, and they ask wonderful questions, even when the press isn't around. He said that he spoke to them about LGBTQ issues and how that's related to mental health, and they asked so many wonderful questions and were really invested.
I love that. I think that's great. Okay, let's move on to time to spill the royalty because, week after week, it's all about Harry and Meghan. But this week, I promise, there's a lot of tea to spill.
There is.
So let's kick it off with an article that was written in the Times by Katie Nicholl. She's a big royal reporter, and she really went in on Meghan and Harry and their great escape from royal life. So what were some of the takeaways for you?
Yeah, it's almost like, what didn't she reveal? There were so many things she talked about with, Meghan's homesickness. She mentioned that the Duchess of Sussex felt there was a conspiracy against her. She spoke about whether Meghan will go back into acting or not. She interviewed Ahmed Scobie, who is writing their new biography. She interviewed Andrew Morton, who did the biography of Princess Diana. There were so many things that she touched on. It's hard to know where to start, honestly.
Right. Okay, let's start with the conspiracy theory, because this kind of, I definitely made a lot of headlines, right?
It did. And this is something that we've heard before, and it's definitely a plausible theory. It's that Meghan thought that there were some courtiers in the palace who were briefing against her, Nicholl said, which was, people who were involved in the day-to-day life of the royals were placing negative tips or stories or any sort of stories and sending them off to well-placed sources within the British media.
Yeah.
And because of that, Nicholl says that when Harry and Meghan went to Windsor Castle, when they lived at Frogmore Cottage, that Meghan basically isolated herself, to stop these leaks from happening.
It definitely seemed like it was a really dark time for her. And, in the midst of all this, she was kind of all alone in London. She really missed her mom. She missed her friends. And that might have been another reason why she decided to go back.
Yeah, definitely. And Nicholl also mentioned that Meghan just really hated not earning an income. Meghan was 36 when she married Prince Harry. She was independently wealthy. She had a career of her own. She had all these things. And suddenly that was all taken away. And she was going back and forth from Windsor to London. And friends said that Meghan was pretty close to burnout, which as you can imagine, after having a kid and trying to balance, you know, all of this, it just seems like so much, especially when stories keep getting out and you're thinking, who else would know that except these people that I'm working with in the palace? And, you know, how did that story get out there?
Sure, yeah. And what I also thought was really interesting, because they mentioned, you know, the ITV documentary and, you know, the whole I'm Not Okay situation. But after that aired, we found out who the first person was to reach out to Meghan after that, right?
Yeah, that was the most surprising part of the article to me, which was that Katie said that William was the first to reach out after the documentary. And Katie's spoken a lot over the past few months about, you know, how Harry and William, they have that bond, but they, you know, were having a moment where they weren't getting along as well as they were. So maybe that was the first wake-up call for William to say, something is really wrong. You're speaking out on, you know, an ITV documentary and not to me, and saying, you know, things are not going well. But that was a really, really interesting part. And it makes us think that William and Harry, you know, will be back together on good terms very soon.
Yeah, I really, really hope so. We also maybe found out a new information about her circle of friends now that she's back in LA, and it's certainly the A-list group.
Oh, it is the A-list crowd. That is so true. And they live next to Adele now, so that is apparently someone who's in their new circle, which I would love to see them going.
Oh my God.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, who Harry met at Google Camp last year. And as we know, they are, you know, still looking at neighborhoods in California, and they might move to be closer to Jennifer Garner, who's their new friend, who wrote a message in support of Meghan, and her Suits castmates and Serena Williams will hopefully be nearby.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they might become fast friends with Adele, because, you know, she made the move from London to LA as well, so they have that in common. She has a son as well. And we're going to talk to Marissa Hermer in a little bit about how adjusting to life in LA might be for them. But speaking of Suits cast members, we actually recently spoke with Eric Roberts, who starred alongside Meghan in Suits, and he revealed to us what she was like on set. Take a look.
That group who make that show are just incredible. It's an incredible group. It's an incredible experience, because you know, that show is nothing but talk, and then they will hand you a page monologue and say rewrites, bang, that you're shooting in 10 minutes, and you're like, whoa, oh my God! And so the whole show is panic. It's all driven by panic, because you're always in a state of panic, because oh my God, I got my rewrites. When are you shooting? In 10 minutes? Wow, go to work. And so it's just, but everybody loves each other. They all help each other. They're all kind. They all have wonderful actors' common courtesy to each other about what each other needs. And it's a great set. And they shoot in Canada, which breeds the nicest people on our planet. So we're set to go. And she was lovely every day.
It seems like everybody that's ever worked with her has nothing but rave reviews.
Right. Him saying she was lovely every day. I mean, they worked together for 5 seasons, and I can tell you, I am not lovely every day. Or, you know, most days. So it's really incredible that all of these people have such nice things. And as we know, all of the Suits cast members went to the royal wedding. So it seems like she's extremely close with these people, and it's in stark contrast to, you know, her step siblings and her father.
Yeah, no, definitely. Nothing but nice things to say. And who knows if she'll get back into acting. Either way, she'll still probably have a lot of her friends in her corner.
Definitely. I'm so excited to see this Hollywood scene. And I'm so excited to see the A-listers, because like we talked about Adele and Leonardo DiCaprio, no one understands the global fame except for, you know, fellow people like that. And Katie also revealed that they'll probably be going to more dinner parties, because LA is very intimate like that. So I don't know, we'll have to wait for one of them to sort of mention details in another interview.
I can't wait. Now let's break down the royal rules, and to help us do that is former Ladies of London star Marissa Hermer, who actually moved from London to LA 3 years ago with her family. So she's going to help us figure out how Harry and Meghan are navigating their new life. So how are you doing? How's your quarantine been going?
I mean, fine. We're here, right? I'm alive. The kids are healthy. I'm an alcoholic. They're illiterate, but we're surviving. So it's like our metrics have changed, right? My measures of success are constantly in flux. But it's a beautiful day outside. I've got a smile on my face. Here we are.
Totally, totally.
Great. Well, it's so nice to speak with you. I was and still am a massive Ladies of London fan, so I was very excited about this.
You know, Harry and Meghan moved from London to LA, and as someone who has done that, what would you say would be the biggest adjustment for them?
I mean, all the adjustments, most of the adjustments are only positive, like blue skies, sunshine, space, you know, all of those wonderful things. Wonderful place. London is the most magical city in the world, but the LA lifestyle, I think, is worth moving for. It's what we moved for. I think the feeling of being far from home is hard, you know, and when, you know, I lived in New York and I lived in London, and it's hard to be far from home. And so there are just different ways that you can manage that. And equally, you can, you know, build a family with your friends wherever you go, for anyone who moves internationally away from their family. So I think it's just setting up your little community wherever you go, which is something that, yeah, we've done here. All of my family's down in Orange County, so it's helpful.
And if you were going to plan a day for Harry and Meghan and Archie to see LA, what would you
You know, LA again is like all about the lifestyle. I mean, whenever we have friends come to visit us, it's less about going to Universal Studios and seeing the Hollywood sign and those like quintessential tourist spots. Whereas I think in other cities, you know, you go see the London Eye, you go see, you know, you have this sort of the tick list that you do. Los Angeles is about the lifestyle. It's about spending a day surfing in Malibu, or going up to Will Rogers Inspiration Point and hiking and bringing a picnic lunch. It's sort of all of those outdoor activities, bike riding down to Venice Beach. Those are a lot of the things that I recommend to friends, or that when we're hosting friends from the UK, that we drag them along to. They're like, wait, we want to go see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm like, no, you don't. Look it up on YouTube. Like, I'm going to take you surfing.
Totally. I mean, being that you spent so much time in London, that you lived in London, you know how kind of the paparazzi works there. Did you sympathize with Meghan at all, seeing what she kind of went through?
In the UK?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I mean, the paparazzi are pretty brutal in the UK. Yeah, it's unpleasant. I think the same in the US though as well. You know, you can't, if someone knows where you're living, they will camp outside your front door. It's fairly unpleasant. I think it's sort of just, it's gotta be, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I can't possibly imagine, because I've never had paparazzi camp outside of my door. Keep me for better or for worse. But yeah, if someone's always watching you, it's a bit Big Brother, isn't it? You sort of can't escape or be anonymous.
Totally.
Yeah. And then being someone that moved from London to LA, do you sympathize with Meghan at all, wanting to make that move back
to Los Angeles? Yeah, I don't know if, you know, truthfully, I was not the one who wanted to move back to Los Angeles. I was super happy in London. You know, I was like an American Anglophile, right? So I still felt like a tourist in London 14 years later, and just loved every second. It was more my husband who wanted to move back to Los Angeles and wanted some sunshine and blue skies and, you know, sand, and why not? We thought it would be for 6 months, and here we are, you know, almost 4 years later. I think once you have spent time in California, it's this incredible lifestyle. And I think also once you have young children, it wasn't until we started spending summers out here once we had young children. And again, it's nice just to be able to throw open your doors and be at the beach or be on a hiking trail and just have space. It's a luxury that I never understood or appreciated when I was childless living in London, you know, because then you're going out 8 nights a week and you're out until 2 a.m, and it's fabulous. And that doesn't really happen in Los Angeles. You know, they're not like, well, until we opened Olivetta, but there's not really like glamorous places to go, and that's fun. But then, you know, when you have young children and hangovers, it's less fun. So you might as well be at the beach.
Definitely. So would you say it's easier to raise young kids in Los Angeles rather than?
I do. Yes, I do. There's just less. And, you know, again, I always think children are happy wherever, like happy children, or what is it? Happy parents, happy children. Mm-hmm. And my kids were super happy in London. and they loved like scooting around town, and we took the tube to museums. By the way, I don't think my children they've been to like a handful of museums here in London, or like we would spend Saturday afternoons in art galleries, and they had impeccable manners because they were out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us all the time. Whereas here, you know, it's backyard barbecues, and they might like have one, you know, be sitting down before they're like eating, you know, a hot dog in the pool. So there's pros and cons to both, but I think as a parent, even like cars are bigger, streets are bigger, refrigerators are bigger, pantries are bigger, like all of garages are bigger. Like I have, you know, I can probably feed my family. Well, now I certainly can because I went a bit quarantine mad, but like feed my family from the food in my house for weeks. Whereas in London, our refrigerators are smaller there. You really can like go for a couple of days before you have to go to like the butcher and the fishmonger and the cheesemonger, you know, all those.
Right.
It's just a different way of life. So it's easier. I think it's more like streamlined in America.
Did you ever binge the Ladies of London that they were re-airing on Bravo?
I didn't. I'm like one of those people. I mean, if I can watch this video, it will be a miracle. I don't like listening to the sound of my voice. I don't like seeing myself on television. So I watched Ladies of London once when we got the screeners prior to it actually airing, and that was it. No, I haven't seen that, although I probably should, because I was a lot younger and blonder then. So maybe I should, just to, you know, reminisce.
Are there any moments that stand out to you in the series that you remember? Any like cringe-worthy moments or fun moments?
All cringe. I mean, we had a lot of fun. You know, all of those girls, yes, there were tears and drama. And I think one of the challenges of doing a reality show is it's not actually reality. Like I don't really fight with my friends in real life, but somehow that happens with real friends on global television. And that any type of drama in any relationship, it like breaks my heart. And so whether it's on global television or not, I think the times when I fought with my friends it's like has unpleasant memories. But all those girls I love, like we all chat with each other and text each other, and it definitely, you know, we went to the moon together and back, and so I'll always be, you know, rooting for each one of my castmates.
Who do you talk to the most? Who do you keep in touch with the most?
Yeah, who do I chat with? I chat with Juliet, Julie Montague, Sophie Stanbury, Caroline Stanbury and I text each other every once in a while. Who else was there? That's probably it. Yeah, the four of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If there was going to be a season 4, would you make an appearance?
Someone asked me that other day, one of the girls. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ladies of London has to take place in London, and I am now a lady of Los Angeles. Lady is probably the wrong word. But yeah, we still have our house in London. I love my family in London, dear friends. So any excuse to hop up across the pond, sign me up. I would love to. Plus, so fun to see all those girls. We always got up to mischief, which was fun.
Were you ever maybe approached about doing Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or would that be something that you would ever do?
Yeah, no, yeah, you know, I chatted with them when we first moved here because I was like in the reality hamster wheel, for lack of a better word, and thought like that would be the next step. The truth is no, I love a lot of the girls on the show, on Beverly House, or what is it? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I adore Teddy. Kyle's adorable. Just great, fun girls. But I feel like I've done that. And again, all the wonderful things about reality television and the great friendships you make, just adding that huge element of drama. I've got enough drama. Like I have 3 young children. I own and operate 2 businesses in the worst hospitality crisis like the world has ever seen. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with drama right now.
I don't need any more on my plate.
I don't need any more drama on my plate. I'm okay.
Are you friends with Lisa Vanderpump at all? I mean, you could do a Vanderpump type thing.
Yeah, I've never met Lisa. She, one of our restaurants in West Hollywood is around the corner from, Sir. But no, I've never met her. No.
How has this been affecting your restaurants? Because I know obviously everything is still kind of on lockdown in LA.
Catastrophic.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I mean it's catastrophic. Obviously, I think for every every business everywhere. There's not one sector of society or industry that COVID doesn't touch. That said, I think hospitality wins a prize. Not that there are prizes to be won here. Hospitality, certainly in healthcare. But look, the truth is we're all in it together. And I think if there's something that anyone in the hospitality business is well versed at, it's I think maybe the metaphor is like being like in the frying pan. I mean, we are masters at like pivoting and like preparation and all of these things, and creativity and strategy. I mean, being in the restaurant industry in the first place it's sort of an idiot play. So like we like, it's challenging all of us, and it's not ideal, but equally I think there are positives to this in business as there are for everything. I mean, we're connecting to our customers in a new and different way. I mean, all of our customers now, the ones who have my phone number, and there are quite a lot of them, I'm learning, are calling me for their orders. And I've never taken orders before for our restaurants for a Tuesday night dinner. I am, and I'm able to set up a program, which we've never done through our restaurants, but we're able to really connect and nourish those on the front lines and the first responders. And that would never have happened had we just been sort of welcoming the masses and wining and dining them until 2 a.m. It's put us in a different position and made us think, but equally, like, again, here we are still.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, and speaking of positives, you created a program to keep your employees working while also giving back. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we set up a program called You Give, We Cook, They Eat, and it actually just sort of came about quite organically. When we were shut down, I realized that we were in a very fortunate position, that we had a clean kitchen and we had a very talented, dedicated team who could cook, and I had a car that could deliver. So, and there was a lot of need, and there still is a lot of need. And so as a restaurant group, we started just donating food to the front lines and the elderly in town and the first responders because we could, and we thought that was something important to do. And sort of right about the time that Matt and my husband and I sat down, and I was like, I love doing this, and this actually nourishes my soul, but equally our own business, the hospitality business sector, generally is facing its own crisis. I mean, how much can we actually give back before we are like really in the hole? Like, there's so much charity we can do before we are the charity. And actually, right at that time, I got a phone call from a friend saying, I love what you're doing. I think I posted a picture, and she said, I'm going to write, like, here's my credit card, put $2,500 on my credit card for your next donation. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And she said, you know, I don't want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day. I want to feel like I'm doing something. And then I also, that same day, I got an email from someone random, a follower on my Instagram, saying, can I call you? I want to donate. And he put $5,000 on his credit card. And suddenly I thought that there was more of an opportunity, rather than just our family doing something, that setting up a platform, which we did, a GoFundMe, where other people near and far could contribute to this cause. And so far we've raised over $35,000. We've donated over 3,000 meals. We are still, go to my Instagram, donate if you can. I mean, it's wonderful. I get donations for $5, $10, every meal is $12 to $5,000. So everything is welcome, and we are delighted to be able to play a role.
Well, Marissa, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Wish you both well. I haven't asked you any questions, but see you soon.
And then just remind everybody, if they want to go to the GoFundMe page to donate or anything like that.
Oh, yes. GoFundMe. I think it's GoFundMe, the Draycott, all of that. Just go to my Instagram. It's Marissa Hermer. And the GoFundMe is in the link in my bio, but please donate. I've got several deliveries coming up this week and would love to continue more. The truth is we absolutely rely on it. So when we've used up the funds, which I think after the next 2 weeks we will have, we need more so we can keep going.
Thank you so much. I feel like once everything is over, lockdown is over, we should make a trip out to LA and go to her restaurants.
I think we need to. That would be so much fun. And then we'll take a hike maybe near Tyler Perry's mansion. Right. I hear there are some people staying there.
We're taking Royally Us on the road.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's move on to our royal history moment of the week. I love this story. It's all about Queen Elizabeth actually being sort of just like us, hiding from people that she doesn't want to see.
Yes, and I love this story. It came out in an ITV documentary, and the Queen is so regal, and you know, she never really lets anything faze her, but this was a story about how she hid in a bush to avoid one of her guests, and honestly, an inspiration for us all. The palace had invited, or the foreign secretary had invited, a really unpopular and seemingly horrible Romanian dictator to visit with the Queen, and she just was not having it.
Not having it. Hid in a bush, did not want to be, you know, around, which is so interesting because she's had a lot of controversial people come to the palace in the past, but this person really just set her off.
Right. As you were saying, you know, she has entertained Vladimir Putin, a lot of unseemly characters, and I guess this time she was out for a walk with her beloved corgis and saw the guests coming her way. They'd already done an open carriage ride. They'd already seen each other so much. So the Queen just decided she couldn't take it anymore.
I love it. I would love to know her favorite to least favorite guests of all time.
That's amazing. I feel like she's so careful. We're never going, I feel like her own family doesn't even know if she likes the guests or not.
I'm sure.
That would be a dream.
To find that out would be fantastic. Okay, so before we wrap up, of course, we have to check in on our royal kiddos in Pint-Sized Palace. And we are finding out that dinner time with royal children is a really tough time. Take a look.
You'll know yourself, the hardest time is dinner time.
Depends what's on the table though, Charlie. If parents put something on that the children love, dinner time goes very well. But if you put something on the table they don't want to do, that's another ballgame.
I mean, once again, royals, just like us, dinner time is not easy.
Right. I mean, even here, I don't even like the dinners I make for myself. So I can only imagine being a royal and being 7.
Yes. Yeah. So Prince William revealed that, you know, it's hard at dinner time, but who do we think cooks the most? Do you think it's William or do you think it's Kate?
I definitely think it's Kate because Kate has talked about having a passion for cooking. She had a special with Mary Berry of Great British Bake Off, which I loved.
Yes.
And she was saying that she makes Mary Berry's pizza dough recipe with the kids. I'm sure it's a way to keep everybody entertained right now. But yeah, I have a feeling that Kate does the majority of the cooking when they do the cooking.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they have some private chefs around too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A few people behind the scenes, just a skeleton staff of 20.
Right. Yeah, no big deal. Well, thank you, Carly, so much for breaking down everything royals with me.
Oh, thank you so much, and I'm so excited to take this on the road. I'm holding you to it.
Yes, Royally Us Tour 2020. Here we come. Well, thank you, everybody, for commenting on our show. Continue to do so. We love seeing what you guys have to say. In the meantime, for all of your royal news, head on over to usmagazine.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you next week.